Leonardo da Vinci was an Italian polymath of the High Renaissance who is widely considered one of the most diversely talented individuals ever to have lived. While his fame initially rested on his achievements as a painter, he also became known for his notebooks, in which he made drawings and notes on science and invention. This involved a variety of subjects including anatomy, astronomy, botany, cartography, painting and paleontology. Leonardo's genius epitomized the Renaissance humanist idea, and his collective works compose a contribution to later generations of artists rivaled only by that of his contemporary Michelangelo, properly named Leonardo di Ser Piero da Vinci. Leonardo was born out of wedlock to a notary, Piero da Vinci, and a peasant woman, Caterina, in Vinci, in the region of Florence, Italy. Leonardo was educated in the studio of the renowned Italian painter Andrea del Verrocchio. Much of his earlier working life was spent in the service of Ludovico il Moro in Milan, and he later worked in Rome, Bologna and Venice. He spent his last 3 years in France, where he died in 1519. Although he had no formal academic training, many historians and scholars regard Leonardo as the prime exemplar of the Renaissance man or universal genius, an individual of unquenchable curiosity and feverishly inventive imagination. According to art historian Helen Gardner, the scope and depth of his interests were without precedent in recorded history, and his mind and personality seemed to us superhuman, while the man himself mysterious and remote. Scholars interpret his view of the world as being based in logic, though the empirical methods he used were unorthodox for his time. Leonardo is widely considered one of the greatest painters of all time. Mona Lisa is the most famous of his works and the most famous portrait ever made. The Last Supper is the most reproduced religious painting of all time, and his Vitruvian Man drawing is also regarded as a cultural icon. In 2017, Salvador Mundi was sold at auction for $450.3 million, setting a new record for most expensive painting ever sold at public auction. Leonardo is revered for his technological ingenuity. He conceptualized flying machines, a type of armored fighting vehicle, concentrated solar power, an adding machine and the double hull. Relatively few of his designs were constructed or ever feasible during his lifetime, as the modern scientific approaches to metallurgy and engineering were only in their infancy during the Renaissance. Some of his smaller inventions, however, entered the world of manufacturing unheralded, such as an automated bobbin winder and a machine for testing the tensile strength of wire. He is also sometimes credited with the inventions of the parachute, helicopter, and tank. He made substantial discoveries in anatomy, civil engineering, geology, optics, tribology and hydrodynamics, but he did not publish his findings and they little to no direct influence on subsequent science. Leonardo was born on 14 or 15 in April 1452, in the Tuscan hill town of Vinci, in the lower valley of the Arno River in the territory of the Medici-ruled Republic of Florence. He was the out-of-wedlock son of Messer Piero Fruosino di Antonio da Vinci, a wealthy Florentine legal notary, and a peasant named Caterina. Identified as Caterina Buti del Vacca and more recently as Caterina di Mio Lippi by historian Martin Kemp. There have been many theories regarding Leonardo's mother's identity, including that she was a slave of foreign origin or an impoverished local youth. Leonardo had no surname in the modern sense, da Vinci simply meaning Leonardo, son of Ser Piero from Vinci. Leonardo spent his first years in the hamlet of Anciano in the home of his mother, and from at least 1457 lived in the household of his father, grandparents and uncle in the small town of Vinci. His father had married a 16-year-old girl named Albiera Amadori, who loved Leonardo but died young in 1465 without children. In 1468, when Leonardo was 16, his father married again to 20-year-old Francesca Lanfredini, who also died without children. Piero's legitimate heirs were born from his third wife Margherita di Guglielmo, who gave birth to 6 children, and his fourth and final wife, Lucrezia Cortigiani, who bore him another 6 heirs. In all, Leonardo had 12 half-siblings, who were much younger than he was. The last was born when Leonardo was 40 years old, and with whom he had very little contact. Leonardo received an informal education in Latin, geometry and mathematics. In later life, Leonardo recorded few distinct childhood incidents. One was of a kite coming to his cradle and opening his mouth with its tail. He regarded this as an omen of his writing on the subject. The second occurred while he was exploring in the mountains. He discovered a cave and was both terrified that some great monster might lurk there and driven by curiosity to find out what was inside. He also seems to have remembered some of his childhood observations of water, writing and crossing out the name of his hometown in one of his notebooks on the formation of rivers. Leonardo's early life has been the subject of historical conjecture. Biographer of Renaissance painters, tells a story of Leonardo as a very young man. A local peasant made himself a round shield and requested that Sir Piero have it painted for him. Leonardo, inspired by the story of Medusa, responded with a painting of a monster spitting fire that has so terrifying that his father bought a different shield to give to the peasant and sold Leonardo's to a Florentine art dealer for 100 ducats, who in turn sold it to the Duke of Milan. Thank you very much for watching to all of you. A Namibian bush farmer and actor who starred in the 1980 movie The Gods Must Be Crazy, and its sequels, in which he played the Kalahari bushman. The Namibian called him Namibia's most famous actor. Nizau, born 1944, was the member of the San, also known as Bushman. He spoke Julone, Otjaharero and Sawana fluently, as well as some Afrikaans. He did not know his own exact age, and before his appearance in the films, he had little experience beyond his home. He had only ever seen 3 white people being cast, and when director Jamie U. Wise gave him first cash payment of $300 for The Gods Must Be Crazy, he allegedly let it blow away in the wind because he did not understand its value. This was despite money already being a serious matter for other San, since many of them depended on purchased food and government aid and/or had enlisted in the South African Army. Due to the high wages it paid, he was, however, able to negotiate for near $500,000 for his appearance in the sequel. He came from a culture that did not value the material things that money could buy and consequently had not learned money management skills. Although he used some of his income to build a brick house with running water and electricity for his family, he also bought a used car and subsequently hired a chauffeur, as he had no desire in learning to drive. In addition to The Gods Must Be Crazy, Nizau starred in a series of sequels, The Gods Must Be Crazy 2, Crazy Safari, Crazy Hong Kong and The Gods Must Be Funny in China. After his film career ended, he returned to Namibia, where he farmed maize, pumpkins and beans and kept several head cattle, but no more than 20 at times because, according to The Independent, without the complex farming systems of the modern world, he had trouble keeping track of more. The Namibian local daily New Era stated that he simply could not count further than 20. Nizau converted to Christianity and in July 2000, he was baptized as a Seventh-day Adventist. On 5 July 2003, He died from multiple drug-resistant tuberculosis while he was out on an excursion for hunting guinea fowl. According to official estimates, he was about 58 or 59 years old at the time. He was buried on 12 of July in a semi-traditional ceremony at Sumkwe, next to the grave of his second wife. He had 6 surviving children. The tiny Kalahari desert bushman known as Nizao, who charmed millions of cinema-goers worldwide in the 1980s with his exuberant performance in the box office hit "The Gods Must Be Crazy," died near the place he was born in the remote Sumkwe area of Namibia, Southwest Africa. Nizao was thought to be about 59, but said he never knew his birthday. The odd spelling of his single name was used for his filmed work, and the exclamation mark substitutes for the clicking sound in his native tongue. Ungwatsi, that cannot be rendered in English. However, the English-language newspaper, The Namibian, spelt it Gcao, and added a surname, Koma. The details of his death are unknown. He went into the bush to gather wood on July 1 but did not return. A family search found his body, but the police did not confirm his death until July 5. He had suffered from tuberculosis. His unlikely fame derived from the remarkable success of Gods Must Be Crazy, which played all over the world from 1981, and without pause for 3 years in the US from 1984, it made nearly $100 million. It was disarming comedy of errors about the unsettling consequences of an empty Coke bottle dropped from an airplane on a bush village. Nizao, as the tribesman, is told to throw the troublesome item off the edge of the world, but his journey involves him in hilarious contact with white civilization. A sequel was released in 1989, and he went on to an even stranger career in Hong Kong, making 3 action films before his movie career ended in 1994. By this time he had made enough money to build his family a brick house with electricity and pipe water, and he also owned a car but never learned to drive it. Nobody who saw The Gods Must Be Crazy will forget his slapstick driving of an open Jeep. Its windscreen is down at the accelerator stuck. But Nizao jumps on the bonnet, grabs the wheel, and careers off facing backwards and driving wildly in reverse. The film was written, directed and produced in Botswana by the late South African filmmaker Jamie Uwais, who also appeared in it. He discovered his star in his ancestral village with his people, the San, living in huts and surviving on a few cultivated vegetables and cattle, without electricity and only scanty well water. Nizao was illiterate, although obviously very bright. He had previously seen only 3 white people, knew of no settlement larger than his village, and had no notions of modern society. When he received his first wages of $300, he let the notes blow away because he did not associate paper money with value. But he learned fast, and demanded 600,000 rand for the sequel. Uwais arranged for him to be given some cattle, the tribal capital, and drew up a trust fund. Uwais said that the bushman was a natural actor, but admitted that the white man's ways had 2 corrupting influences on Nizao. He learned to drink alcohol and smoke. He is survived by his wife Cora, 4 daughters and 2 sons. According to his wife, he told him that he was hearing strange voices telling him come back home barely a day before he died mysteriously. A big thank you to all of you for watching. Emmanuel Manny Dapadran Pacquiao, born December 17, 1978, is a Filipino professional boxer and senator of the Philippines. Nicknamed Pac-Man, he is regarded as one of the greatest professional boxer of all time. He was elected as Senator of the Philippines in 2016 and is serving a 6-year term. Manny Pacquiao is the only 8-division world champion in the history of boxing and was won 12 major world titles. He was the first boxer to win the lineal championship in 5 different weight classes. The first boxer to win major world titles in 4 of the 8 glamour divisions: flyweight, featherweight, lightweight and welterweight. And is the only boxer to hold world championships across 4 decades: 1990, 2000, 2010 and 2020. As of 2015, Pacquiao's fights had generated $1.2 billion in revenue from his 25 pay-per-view bouts according to Forbes. He was the second highest paid athlete in the world in 2015. In July 2019, Pacquiao became the oldest welterweight world champion in history at the age of 40, and the first boxer in history to become a recognized 4-time welterweight champion after defeating Keith Thurman to win the WBA super welterweight title. Pacquiao has held the WBA super welterweight title since July 2019. As of November 2020, he is ranked as the world's 8th best active boxer, pound for pound by BoxRec, 9th by Boxing Writers Association of America and 10th by ESPN. He is also ranked as the world's 3rd best active welterweight by the Transnational Boxing Ranking Board, ESPN, The Ring Magazine and BoxRec. Pacquiao was born in Kibawe, Bukidnon and raised in General Santos, Philippines. He is the son of Rosalio Pacquiao and Dionisia Dapadron Pacquiao. His parents separated when he was in 6th grade, after his father had an affair. He is the 4th of 6 siblings, one of whom, Alberto Bobby Pacquiao, is a politician and former professional boxer. Pacquiao completed his elementary education at Saavedra Sayway Elementary School in General Santos City, but dropped out of high school due to extreme poverty. At the age of 12, Pacquiao was introduced to boxing by his maternal uncle Sardo Mejia. According to his autobiography, Pacquiao said watching Mike Tyson's defeat to James Buster Douglas in 1990 with his uncle Sardo is an experience that changed my life forever. His early interest in combat sports was also inspired by martial artist Bruce Lee and the boxer Muhammad Ali. In 1990, Mejia began training his nephew in a makeshift home gym. After 6 months of training, Pacquiao began boxing in a park in General Santos, eventually traveling to other cities to fight higher-ranked opponents. By age 15, he was considered the best junior boxer in the southern Philippines. At the age of 15, he moved to Manila. In January 1995, at the age of 16, he made his professional boxing debut as a junior flyweight. In February 2007, Pacquiao took and passed a high school equivalency exam, and was awarded with a high school diploma by the Department of Education. Pacquiao is a military reservist with the rank of colonel in the reserve force of the Philippine Army. Prior to being promoted to full colonel after finishing his General Staff Course GSC schooling, he held a lieutenant colonel for being a member of the Philippine Congress as per the AFP's regulations for reservist officers. He first entered the Army's Reserve Force on April 27, 2016, as a sergeant. Later, he rose to technical sergeant on December 1 of the same year. On October 7, 2007, he became a master sergeant, the highest rank for enlisted personnel. On May 4, 2009, he was given the special rank of senior master sergeant and was also designated as the command sergeant major of the 15th Ready Reserve Division. Pacquiao married Jinky Jamora on May 10, 1999. Together, they have 5 children: Emmanuel Jr. Jimuel, Michael Stephen, Mary Divine Grace Princess, Queen Elizabeth Queenie and Israel. His son Jimuel is an amateur boxer. His daughter Queenie was born in the United States. He resides in his hometown of General Santos City, South Cotabato, Philippines. However, is a congressman of Lone District of Sarangani. He is officially residing in Kiamba, Sarangani, the hometown of his wife. On December 11, 2019, Pacquiao graduated from University of Makati with a bachelor's degree in political science, majoring in local government administration through the Expanded Tertiary Education Program (ETEAP) of the Philippine Counselors League. Legislative Academy PCCLA, which allows qualified Filipinos to complete a collegiate-level education via informal education system. Raised in the Catholic faith, Pacquiao is currently a practicing evangelical Protestant. Pacquiao said, "He once had a dream where he saw a pair of angels and heard the voice of God. This dream convinced him to become a devout believer." A big thank you for watching to all of you. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., born November 20, 1942, is an American politician serving as the 46th and current President of the United States. A member of the Democratic Party, he served as the 47th Vice President from 2009 to 2017 under Barack Obama and represented Delaware in the United States Senate from 1973 to 2009. Joe Biden, raised in Scranton, Pennsylvania, in New Castle County, Delaware. Biden studied at the University of Delaware before earning his law degree from Syracuse University. In 1968, he was elected a New Castle County Councilor in 1970 and became the sixth youngest senator in America history when he was elected to the U.S. Senate from Delaware in 1972. At the age of 29, Biden was a long-time member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and eventually became its chairman. He also chaired the Senate Judiciary Committee from 1987 to 1995, dealing with drug policy, crime prevention, and civil liberties issues, led the effort to pass the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act and the Violence Against Women Act, and oversaw 6 U.S. Supreme Court confirmation hearings for Robert Bork and Clarence Thomas. He ran unsuccessfully for the Democratic presidential nomination in 1988 and again in 2008. Biden was re-elected to the Senate 6 times and was the 4th most senior senator when he resigned to serve as Barack Obama's vice president after they won the 2008 presidential election. Obama and Biden were re-elected in 2012 as vice president. Biden oversaw infrastructure spending in 2009 to counteract the Great Recession. His negotiations with congressional Republicans helped pass legislation including the 2010 Tax Relief Act, which resolved a taxation deadlock, the Budget Control Act of 2011, which resolved a debt ceiling crisis, and the American Taxpayer Relief Act of 2012, which addressed the impending fiscal cliff. He also led efforts to pass the United States-Russia New START Treaty and helped formulate U.S. policy toward Iraq through the withdrawal of U.S. troops in 2011. Following the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, he also led the Gun Violence Task Force. In January 2017, Obama awarded Biden the Presidential Medal of Freedom with distinction. In April 2019, Biden announced his candidacy in the 2020 presidential election, his third presidential campaign. Biden became the presumptive Democratic nominee in April 2020 and reached the delegate threshold needed to secure the nomination in June 2020. In August, he announced his choice of U.S. Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate. Biden and Harris won the general election with 306 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 232. On January 20, 2021, Biden became the oldest sitting president, the first from Delaware and the second Catholic. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. was born November 20, 1942 at St. Mary's Hospital in Scranton, Pennsylvania, to Catherine Eugenia Jean Biden and Joseph Robinette Biden Sr., the oldest child in the Catholic family. He has a sister, Valerie, and 2 brothers, Francis and James. Jean was of Irish descent, while Joseph Sr. had English, French, and Irish ancestry. Biden's father was initially wealthy, but suffered financial setbacks around the time Biden was born, and for several years the family lived with Biden's maternal grandparents. Scranton fell into economic decline during the 1950s and Biden's father could not find steady work. Beginning in 1953, the family lived in an apartment in Claymont, Delaware, then moved to a house in Wilmington, Delaware. Biden Sr. later became a successful used car salesman, maintaining the family in a middle-class lifestyle. At Archmere Academy in Claymont, Biden was a standout halfback and wide receiver on the high school football team. He also played baseball. Though a poor student, he was class president in his junior and senior years. He graduated in 1961. At the University of Delaware in Newark, Biden briefly played freshman football and as an unexceptional student earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1965 with a double major in history, in political science, and a minor in English. Biden has a stutter, which has improved since his early 20s. He says he has reduced it by reciting poetry before a mirror, but it has been suggested that it affected his performance in the 2020 Democratic Party presidential debates. On August 27, 1966, Biden married Nelia Hunter (1942–1972), a student at Syracuse University, after overcoming her parents' reluctance for her to wed a Roman Catholic. The ceremony was held in a Catholic church in Skaneateles, New York. They had 3 children. Joseph R. Bo Biden III 1969–2015, Robert Hunter Biden born 1970, and Naomi Christina Amy Biden 1971–1972. In 1968, Biden earned a Juris Doctor from Syracuse University College of Law, ranked 76th in his class of 85, after failing a course due to an acknowledged mistake when he plagiarized a law review article for a paper he wrote in his first year at law school. He was admitted to the Delaware bar in 1969. In 1968, Biden clerked at a Wilmington law firm headed by prominent local Republican William Prickett, and he later said, "Thought of myself as a Republican." He disliked incumbent Democratic Delaware Governor Charles L. Terry's conservative racial politics and supported a more liberal Republican, Russell W. Peterson, who defeated Terry in 1968. Biden was recruited by local Republicans but registered as an independent because of his distaste for Republican presidential candidate Richard Nixon. In 1969, Biden practiced law first as a public defender and then at a firm headed by a locally active Democrat who named him to the Democratic Forum, a group trying to reform and revitalize the state party. Biden subsequently re-registered as a Democrat. He and another attorney also formed a law firm. Corporate law, however, did not appeal to him, and criminal law did not pay well. He supplemented his income by managing properties. In 1970, Biden ran for the 4th District seat on the New Castle County Council on a liberal platform that includes support for public housing in the suburbs. The seat had been held by Republican Henry R. Folsom, who was running in the 5th District following a reappointment of council districts. Biden won the general election, and took office on January 5, 1971. He served until January 1, 1973, and was succeeded by Democrat Francis R. Swift. During his time on the county council, Biden opposed large highway projects he argued might disrupt Wilmington neighborhoods. On December 18, 1972, a few weeks after the election, Biden's wife and 1-year-old daughter were killed in an automobile accident while Christmas shopping in Hockessin, Delaware. Nelia's station wagon was hit by a tractor-trailer truck as she pulled out from an intersection. Their sons Bo, age 3, and Hunter, age 2, survived the accident and were taken to the hospital in fair condition, Bo with a broken leg and other wounds, and Hunter with a minor skull fracture and other head injuries. Doctors soon said both would make full recoveries. Biden considered resigning to care for them, but Senate Majority Leader Mike Mansfield persuaded him not to. Years later, Biden said he had heard that the truck driver allegedly drank alcohol before the collision. The driver's family denied that claim, and the police never substantiated it. Biden later apologized to the family. Thank very much for watching. Elon Reeve Musk, born June 28, 1971, is a business magnate, industrial designer. He is the founder, CEO, CTO, and chief designer of SpaceX, early investor, CEO and product architect of Tesla Inc. Founder of The Boring Company, co-founder of Neuralink, and co-founder and initial co-chairman of OpenAI. He was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society (FRS) in 2018. Also that year, he was ranked 25th on the Forbes list of the world's most powerful people, and was ranked joint first on the Forbes list of the most innovative leaders of 2019. A centi-billionaires, Musk became the richest person in the world in January 2021. Musk was born to a Canadian mother and South African father and raised in Pretoria, South Africa. He briefly attended the University of Pretoria before moving to Canada when he was 17 to attend Queen's University. He transferred to the University of Pennsylvania 2 years later, where he received dual bachelor's degrees in economics and physics. He moved to California in 1995 to begin a PhD in applied physics and material sciences at Stanford University, but dropped out after 2 days to pursue a business career. He co-founded Zip2, a web software company, which acquired by Compaq for $307 million in 1999. Musk then founded X.com, an online bank. It merged with Confinity in 2000, which had launched PayPal the previous year and was subsequently bought by eBay for $1.5 billion in October 2002. In May 2002, Musk founded SpaceX, an aerospace manufacturer and space transport services company, of which he is CEO and lead designer. He joined Tesla Motors Inc., an electric vehicle manufacturer, in 2004, the year after it was founded, becoming its product architect that year and its CEO in 2008. In 2006, he helped create Solar City, a solar energy services company now a subsidiary of Tesla. In 2015, he co-founded OpenAI, a non-profit research company that aims to promote friendly artificial intelligence. In July 2016, he co-founded Neuralink, a neurotechnology company focused on developing brain-computer interfaces. In December 2016, Musk founded The Boring Company, an infrastructure and tunnel construction company focused on tunnels optimized for electric vehicles. In addition to his primary business pursuits, he envisioned an open-source high-speed transportation system known as the Hyperloop based on the concept of a VAC-train. Musk has also been the subject of criticism due to unorthodox or unscientific stances and highly publicized controversies, following the rejection of a prototype submarine from Tesla that Musk had offered to be used in the 2018 Tham Luang cave rescue. He called a diver who advised in the rescue and disparaged the prototype a pedo guy, and in response the diver sued for defamation. A California jury ruled in favor of Musk. Also in 2018, he falsely tweeted that he had secured funding for a private takeover of Tesla at $420 a share. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, sued him for the comment. He settled with accepting limitations in his Twitter usage. Elon Reeve Musk was born on June 28, 1971 in Pretoria, Transvaal, South Africa. His mother is May Musk, a model and dietitian born in Saskatchewan, Canada. His father is Errol Musk, a South African electromechanical engineer, pilot, sailor, consultant, and property developer. He has a younger brother who was an early business partner, Kimball born 1972, and a younger sister, Tosca born 1974, the CEO of the video streaming site Passionflix. His maternal grandfather, Joshua Haldeman, was an American-born Canadian. His paternal grandmother had both British and Pennsylvania Dutch ancestry. After his parents divorced and subsequently regretted, Musk has become estranged from his father, whom he has described as a terrible human being. Almost every evil thing you could possibly think of he has done. He also has a half-sister and a half-brother on his father's side. At the age of 10, he developed an interest in computing while using the Commodore VIC-20. He learned computer programming using a manual and by age 12, sold the code of a BASIC-based video game he created called Blastar to PC and Office Technology magazine for approximately $500. An awkward and introverted child, Musk was severely bullied throughout his childhood and was once hospitalized after a group of boys threw him down a flight of stairs. He attended Waterloo House Preparatory School and Bryanston High School before graduating from Pretoria Boys High School. Although his father insisted that he attend college in Pretoria, Musk became determined to move to the United States, saying, "I remember thinking and seeing that America is where great things are possible, more than any other country in the world." Aware that it would be easier to enter the United States from Canada, he applied for a Canadian passport through his Canadian-born mother. Musk met his first wife, Canadian author Justine Wilson, while both were students at Ontario's Queen's University. They married in 2000 and separated in 2008. Their first son died of sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, at the age of 10 weeks. They later had 5 sons through in vitro fertilization, twins in 2004, followed by triplets in 2006. They share custody of all 5 sons. In 2008, Musk began dating English actress Tallulah Riley, and in 2010 the couple married. In January 2012, Musk announced that he had ended his 4-year relationship with Riley, tweeting to Riley, "It was an amazing 4 years. I will love you forever. You will make someone very happy one day." In July 2013, Musk and Riley remarried. In December 2014, Musk filed for a second divorce from Riley. However, the action was withdrawn. The media announced in March 2016 that divorce proceedings were again underway, this time with Riley filing for divorce from Musk. The divorce was finalized in late 2016. On May 7, 2018, Musk and Canadian musician Grimes revealed that they were dating. On January 8, 2020, Grimes announced that she was pregnant with their first child. Grimes gave birth to a son on May 4, 2020.
Si Jeffrey Preston Bezos ay isang internet entrepreneur, industrialist, may-ari ng media at investor. Siya ay kilala bilang tagapagtatag, CEO at pangulo ng multinational technology na kumpanyang Amazon, ang unang centi-billionaire sa Forbes Rich Index. Si Bezos ay naging pinakamayamang tao sa buong mundo mula pa noong 2017 at tinanghal na pinakamayamang tao sa modernong kasaysayan matapos tumaas ang kanyang net worth na nagkakahalaga ng $150 billion noong July 2018. Ayon sa Forbes, siya ang kauna-unahang tao sa kasaysayan na mayroong net worth na hihigit sa $200 billion. Si Bezos ay ipinanganak sa Albuquerque at lumaki sa Houston at paglaon ay sa Miami. Nagtapos si Bezos sa Universidad ng Princeton noong 1986. Nagtaglay siya ng degree sa Electrical Engineering at Computer Science. Nagtrabaho siya sa Wall Street sa iba't ibang mga kaugnayan na larangan mula 1986 hanggang unang bahagi ng 1994. Itinatag ni Bezos ang Amazon noong huling bahagi ng 1994, sa isang cross-country road trip mula New York City hanggang Seattle. Ang kumpanya ay nagsimula bilang isang online bookstore at mula noon ay lumawak sa iba't iba pang mga produkto at serbisyo ng e-commerce, kabilang ang video at audio streaming, cloud computing at artificial intelligence. Ito ay ang pinakamalaking online sales company sa buong mundo, ang pinakamalaking kumpanya ng internet sa pamamagitan ng revenue at ang pinakamalaking tagapagbigay ng mga virtual assistant sa mundo at pang-imprastruktura sa pamamagitan ng sangay ng mga serbisyo ng web ng Amazon. Itinatag din ni Bezos ang tagagawa ng aerospace at suborbital spaceflight na serbisyo ng kumpanya na Blue Origin noong 2000. Ang bagong Shepard na sasakyan ng Blue Origin ay umabot sa kalawakan noong 2015, at pagkatapos ay matagumpay na nakalapag muli sa lupa. Ang kumpanya ay may mga paparating pang mga plano upang simulan ang komersyal na suborbital human spaceflight. Binili din niya ang pangunahing pahayagan ng Amerika, ang Washington Post noong 2013 sa halagang $250 million at namamahala ng maraming iba pang mga pamumuhunan sa pamamagitan ng Bezos Expeditions Ventures capital firm. Si Jeffrey Preston Jorgensen ay isinilang sa Albuquerque, New Mexico noong January 12, 1964, anak nina Jacqueline at Ted Jorgensen sa oras ng kapanganakan. Ang kanyang ina ay isang 17 years old na estudyante sa high school at ang kanyang ama ay may-ari ng isang tindahan ng bisikleta. Matapos ang diborsyo ng kanyang mga magulang, ang kanyang ina ay nag-asawa ng Cuban immigrant na si Miguel Mike Bezos noong April 1968. Di nagtagal pagkatapos ng kasal, in-adopt ni Mike ang 4 years old na si Jorgensen at ang apelyido ay ginawa niyang Bezos. Ang pamilya ay lumipat sa Houston, Texas kung saan nagtrabaho si Mike bilang engineer ng Exxon pagkatapos niyang matanggap ang isang degree mula sa University of New Mexico. Si Bezos ay pumasok sa River Oaks Elementary School sa Houston mula ika-4 hanggang ika-6 na grado. Ang lola sa ina ni Bezos ay si Lawrence Preston Giz, ay isang regional director ng U.S. Atomic Energy Commission (AEC). Sa Albuquerque, lumipat ang pamilya sa Miami, Florida kung saan pumasok si Bezos sa Miami Palmetto High School sa kalapit na Pinecrest, Florida. Habang nasa high school nagtrabaho si Bezos sa McDonald's bilang isang line cook ng mga short order. Dumalo rin siya sa programa ng pagsasanay sa agham ng mag-aaral sa University of Florida. Siya ay high school valedictorian, merit scholar at isang Silver Knight Award winner noong 1982. Sa kanyang graduation speech sinabi ni Bezos sa madla na pinangarap niya ang araw na ang sangkatauhan ay makolonize sa space. Nagtapos siya ng summa cum laude mula sa Princeton University na may 4.2 GPA at isang Bachelor of Science sa Engineering degree, BSE, sa Electrical Engineering at Computer Science. Siya rin ay miyembro ng Phi Beta Kappa. Habang nasa Princeton, si Bezos ay isang miyembro ng Quadrangle Club. Bilang karagdagan, siya ay inihalal sa Tau Beta Pi at ang pangulo ng Princeton chapter ng Students for the Exploration and Development of Space (SEDS). Pagka-graduate ni Bezos mula sa Princeton University noong 1986, siya ay inalok ng trabaho sa Intel, Bell Labs, at Anderson Consulting at iba pa. Siya ay unang nagtrabaho sa FITL, isang fintech telecommunication startup kung saan siya ang gumagawa sa pagbuo ng isang network para sa international trade. Si Bezos ay na-promote sa trabaho bilang Head of Development and Director of Customer Service. Pagkatapos nito, lumipat siya sa industriya ng pagbabangko at siya ay naging Product Manager sa Bankers Trust. Nagtrabaho siya roon mula 1988 hanggang 1990. Pumasok din siya sa DE Shaw & Company noong 1990 at nagtrabaho doon hanggang 1994. Si Bezos ay naging 4th Senior Vice President ng DE Shaw sa edad na 30. Noong huling bahagi ng 1993, nagpasya si Bezos na magtatag ng isang online bookstore. Iniwan niya ang kanyang trabaho sa DE Shaw at itinatag ang Amazon sa kanyang garahe noong July 5, 1994. Pagkatapos niyang isulat ang plano ng negosyo sa isang cross-country drive trip from New York City to Seattle, bago ang pag-aayos sa Seattle, sinisiyasat ni Bezos ang pag-set up ng kanyang kumpanya sa isang Indian reservation malapit sa San Francisco upang maiwasan ang pagbabayad ng mga buwis. Kadabra ang unang ipinangalan ni Bezos sa kanyang bagong kumpanya, ngunit kalaunan ay ginawa niyang Amazon, isinunod sa Amazon River ng South America dahil daw ang pangalan ay nagsisimula sa letrang A na kung saan ito rin ang unang letra ng alpabeto. Tumanggap siya ng tinatayang $300,000 mula sa kanyang mga magulang at namuhunan sa Amazon. Siya ay nagbabala ng maaga para sa mamumuhunan na mayroong 70% na pagkakataon na ang Amazon ay mavigo o pumunta sa bankrupt. Kahit na ang Amazon ay orihinal na isang online na bookstore, si Bezos ay laging nagpaplano para sa iba pang mga produkto. Noong 1998, sari-sari pa ang ibinenta ni Bezos sa online tulad ng music at video, at sa pagtatapos ng taon ay pinalawak pa niya ang produkto ng kanyang kumpanya para sa iba't iba pang mga produkto ng mamimili. Ginamit ni Bezos ang $54 million na itinaas sa panahon ng 1,977 equity offering ng kumpanya upang pondohan ang aggressive acquisition ng mas maliit na kakumpetensya. Noong 2000 humiram si Bezos ng $2 billion mula sa bangko. Noong 2002 pinangunahan ni Bezos ang Amazon upang ilunsad ang Amazon Web Services na naipon ang data mula sa mga channels at web traffic. Noong 2007 inilunsad ni Bezos ang Amazon Kindle. Ayon sa 2008 Time profile, si Bezos ay nagnanais na lumikha ng isang aparato na pinapayagan ng isang estado sa pagbabasa katulad ng karanasan ng mga video games. Noong 2013, nakuha ni Bezos ang kontrata ng $600 million sa Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, sa ngalan ng Amazon Web Services. Ipinahayag ni Bezos at McKinsey sa Twitter ang kanilang layunin sa diborsyo pagkatapos ng mahabang panahon ng paghihiwalay. Noong April 4, 2019, ang diborsyo ay tapos na at pinapanatili ni Bezos ang 75% ng Amazon stock ng mag-asawa at si McKinsey ay nakakuha ng natitirang 25%, $35.6 billion, sa Amazon stock. Gayunpaman, isinasantabi ni Bezos ang lahat ng mga karapatan sa pagboto ng mag-asawa. Noong February 7, 2019, inilathala ni Bezos ang isang online na sanaysay kung saan ay inakusahan niya ang American Media Inc., may-ari na si David Pecker ng pangingikil at blackmail para sa pagbabanta na naipublish na intimated na mga larawan ni Bezos at Lauren Sanchez, kung hindi niya ihihinto ang kanyang pagsisiyasat sa kung paano ang kanyang mga text message at iba pang mga larawan ay na-leak sa National Enquirer. Maraming salamat po sa inyong panunood.
Who is Lee Jun-fan? Lee Jun-fan, commonly known as Bruce Lee, was a Hong Kong-American actor, director, martial artist, martial arts instructor and philosopher. He was the founder of Jeet Kune Do, a hybrid martial arts philosophy drawing from different combat disciplines that is often credited with paving the way for modern mixed martial arts (MMA). Lee is considered by commentators, critics, media, and other martial artists to be most influential martial artist of all time and a pop culture icon of 20th century, who bridged the gap between East and West. He is credited helping to change the way Asians were presented in American films. Lee Jun-fan is born on November 27, 1940 in San Francisco, California, USA, and he died on July 20, 1973 at the age of 32 in Kowloon Tong, Hong Kong. Cerebral edema is a cause of death of Lee Jun-fan. Resting place: Lakeview Cemetery, Seattle, Washington. Nationality: American Hong Konger. Other names: Bruce Lee, Su Lung, Lee Yuan Chom, Lee Yuan Cam. Alma mater: University of Washington. Occupation: martial artist, philosopher, actor, director, screenwriter and producers. Years active, 1941–1973. Spouse, Linda Emery. Children, Brandon Leek son. Shannon Leek daughter. The son of Cantonese opera star Li Hoi-chuan. Li was born in the China area of San Francisco, California, on November 27, 1940, to parents from Hong Kong, and was raised with his family in Kowloon, Hong Kong. He was introduced to the film industry by his father and appeared on several films as a child actor. Li moved to the United States at the age of 18 to receive his higher education at the University of Washington in Seattle. And it was during this time that he began teaching martial arts. His Hong Kong and Hollywood produce films elevated the traditional martial arts in the West in the 1970s. The direction and tone of his films dramatically influenced and changed martial arts films worldwide. He is noted for his roles in the 5 feature-length martial arts films in the early 1970s. Lo Wei's The Big Boss 1971. and Fist of Fury 1972. Golden Harvest's Way of the Dragon 1972. Directed and written by Lee. And Golden Harvest and Warner Brothers Enter the Dragon 1973. And The Game of Death 1978. Both directed by Robert Klaus. Lee became an iconic figure known throughout the world, particularly among the Chinese, based upon his portrayal of Chinese nationalism in his films and among Asian Americans for defying stereotypes associated with the emasculated Asian male. He trained in the art of Wing Chun and later combined his other influences from various sources into the spirit of his personal martial arts philosophy, which he dubbed Jeet Kune Do, the way of intercepting fist. Lee had residences in Hong Kong and Seattle. Lee died on July 28, 1973, at the age of 32. There was no visible external injury. However, according to autopsy reports, Lee's brain had swollen considerably. The autopsy found equagesic in his system. When the doctors announced Lee's death, it was officially ruled death by misadventure. Since his death, Lee continued to be a prominent influence on modern combat sport, including judo, karate, mixed martial arts and boxing. Time named Lee one of the 100 most important people of the 20th century.
Isang kilalang negosyanteng Amerikano, developer ng software at pilantropo. Kilala siya bilang co-founder ng Microsoft Corporation sa kanyang karera sa Microsoft. Hinawakan niya ang mga posisyon ng Chairman, Chief Executive Officer CEO, Pangulo at punong arkitekto ng software. Habang siya rin ang may pinakamalaking individual na shareholder hanggang May 2014. Siya ay isa sa mga kilalang negosyante at tagapanguna ng revolusyon ng microcomputers noong 1970s at 1980s. Si William Henry Gates III ay ipinanganak at lumaki sa Seattle, Washington noong October 28, 1955. Itinatag ni William Henry Gates III ang Microsoft kasama ang kaibigan sa pagkabata na si Paul Allen noong 1975 sa Albuquerque, New Mexico. Nagpatuloy itong naging pinakamalaking kumpanya ng software ng computer sa buong mundo. Pinangunahan ni Gates ang kumpanya bilang chairman at CEO hanggang sa bumaba siya bilang CEO noong January 2000. Ngunit nanatili siyang chairman at naging punong arkitekto ng software noong huling bahagi ng 1990s. Pinintesan siya para sa kanyang mga taktika sa negosyo at itinuturing na kontra-kompetisyon. Ang opinyon na ito ay pinanindigan ng maraming mga pagpapasya ng korte. Noong June 2006 inihayag ni Bill Gates na lilipat siya sa isang part-time na tungkulin sa Microsoft at full-time na trabaho sa Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Ang pribadong pundasyong pangkawanggawa na itinatag nila ng kanyang asawang si Melinda Gates noong 2000. Unti-unting inilipat niya ang kanyang mga tungkulin kina Ray Ozzie at Craig Mondi. Bumaba siya bilang chairman ng Microsoft noong February 2014 at sumailalim sa isang bagong tungkulin bilang tagapayo ng teknolohiya upang suportahan ang bagong itinalagang CEO na si Satya Nadella noong March 2020. Iniwan ni Gates ang kanyang mga posisyon sa lupon sa Microsoft at Berkshire Hathaway upang ituon ang kanyang pagsisikap kasama ang pagbabago ng klima, pangkalusugan at pag-unlad sa buong mundo at edukasyon. Mula noong 1987, isinama siya sa listahan ng Forbes na pinakamayamang tao sa buong mundo mula 1995 hanggang 2017. Hinawakan niya ang titulong Forbes ng pinakamayamang tao sa buong mundo maliban sa 4 na taong iyon. Noong October 2017, nalampasan siya ng founder at CEO ng Amazon na si Jeff Bezos na may net worth na $90.6 billion. Kumpara sa net worth ni Gates na $89.9 billion noong panahong iyon. Hanggang November 2020 si Gates ay may tinatayang net worth na nagkakahalagang $113.7 billion na ginawang siya ang pangatlong pinakamayamang tao sa buong mundo sa likuran nina Bezos at Elon Musk. Nang maglaon sa kanyang karera at mula nang umalis sa pang-araw-araw na operasyon sa Microsoft noong 2008. Naging abala si Gates sa pagkawanggawa at sa mga programang pang-agham na pagsasaliksik sa pamamagitan ng Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, na iniulat na pinakamalaking charity sa buong mundo noong 2009. Itinatag ni Gates at Warren Buffett ang The Giving Pledge kung saan sila at iba pang mga bilyonaryo ay nangakong ibibigay ang kahit kalahati ng kanilang yaman sa pagkawanggawa. Si Bill Gates ay ipinanganak sa Seattle, Washington noong October 28, 1955. Siya ay anak nina William H. Gates Sr. 9-10-25-2020 at Mary Maxwell Gates 1929-1994. Ang kanyang ama ay isang kilalang abogado, at ang kanyang ina naman ay nagsilbing board of director ng First Interstate Bank System at United Way of America. Ang apuhan ng ina ni Bill Gates ay si J. W. Maxwell ay isang National Bank President. Si Gates ay may isang nakatatandang kapatid na si Christian o Christy. At isang nakababatang kapatid na si Libby. Ang pamilya ni Bill Gates ay nanirahan sa lugar ng Sandpoint ng Seattle sa isang bahay na napinsala ng isang buhawi noong si Gates ay 7 taong gulang pa lamang. Nais ng mga magulang ni Gates na siya ay mag-abuga siya. Noong bata pa siya regular na dumadalo ang kanyang pamilya sa isang simbahan ng Congregational Christian Class A Protestant Reformed Denomination. Si Gates ay maliit pa para sa kanyang edad at binubuli noong bata pa. Hinimok siya ng pamilya sa kompetisyon. Isang bisita ang nagulat na hindi mahalaga kung ito ay mga puso o pickleball o paglangoy sa pantalan. Palaging may gantimpala sa panalo at palaging may parusa sa pagkatalo. Sa edad na 13, nag-enroll siya sa isang pribadong paaralan ng prep na Lakeside, kung saan isinulat niya ang kanyang unang programa sa software. Noong siya ay nasa 2 baitang. Ang Mothers Club sa paaralan ay gumamit ng mga nalikom mula sa pagbebenta ng Lakeside School upang bumili ng isang teletype Model 33 ASR terminal at isang bloke ng oras ng computer sa isang General Electric GE computer para sa mga mag-aaral. Naging interesado si Gates sa programa ng GE system sa basic. At siya ay pinawalang sala sa klase sa mathematics upang ituloy ang kanyang interes. Sinulat niya ang kanyang unang programa sa computer sa makinang ito. Isang pagpapatupad ng tic-tac-toe na pinapayagan ang mga gumagamit na maglaro laban sa computer. Si Gates ay nabighani sa makina at kung paano ito laging naisasagawa ang software code na perpekto. Matapos maubos ang donasyon ng Mothers Club, naghanap ng oras si Gates at iba pang mga mag-aaral sa mga system kasama ang DEC-PDP mini-computers. Ang isa sa mga sistemang ito ay isang PDP-10 na pagmamay-ari ng Computer Center Corporation (CCC) na ipinagbabawal sa tag-init. Si Gates, Paul Allen, Rick Wayland at matalik na kaibigan at unang kasosyo sa negosyo ni Gates na si Kent Evans. Matapos itong mahuli sa kanila na nagsasamantala sa mga bugs sa operating system upang makakuha ng libreng oras ng computer. Ang 4 ay bumuo ng Lakeside Programmers Club upang kumita ng pera. Sa pagtatapos ng pagbabawal, nag-alok silang maghanap ng mga bugs sa software ng CCC kapalit ng libreng oras ng computer. Sa halip na gamitin ang system ng malayuan sa pamamagitan ng teletype, nagpunta si Gates sa mga tanggapan ng CCC at pinag-aralan ang source code para sa mga iba't ibang programa na tumatakbo sa system, kabilang ang Fortran, Lisp at wika ng makina. Ang pag-aayos kasama ang CCC ay nagpatuloy hanggang 1970 nang mawala ng negosyo ang kumpanya. Nang sumunod na taon, isang guro ng Lakeside ang nagpatala kay Gates at Evans upang i-automate ang sistema ng pag-schedule ng klase ng paaralan na nagbibigay sa kanila ng oras sa computer at mga royalties bilang kapalit. Masigasig na nagtrabaho ang dalawa upang maihanda ang programa para sa kanilang nakatatandang taon. Sa pagtatapos ng kanilang junior year, si Evans ay namatay sa isang aksidente sa pag-akyat sa bundok na inilarawan ni Gates bilang isa sa pinakamalungkot na araw sa kanyang buhay. Bumaling si Gates kay Allen na tumulong sa kanya na matapos ang system para sa Lakeside. Sa edad na 17 gumawa ng pakikipagsapalaran si Gates kasama si Allen na tinatawag na traf o data upang makagawa ng mga traffic counters. Batay sa Intel 8008 na processor. Noong 1972, nagsilbi siya bilang isang pahina ng Kongreso sa kapulungan ng mga kinatawan. Siya ay isang merit scholar nang siya ay nagtapos sa Lakeside School noong 1973. Nag-score siya 1,590 sa 1,600 sa Scholastic Aptitude Test SAT. At nag-enroll sa Harvard College noong taglagas ng 1973. Pumili siya ng isang prelo major. Ngunit kumuha ng matematika at nagtapos sa antas ng mga kurso sa computer science. Habang nasa Harvard, nakilala niya ang kapwa-estudyante na si Steve Ballmer. Umalis si Gates sa Harvard pagkatapos ng 2 taon habang nanatili si Ballmer at nagtapos ng magna cum laude. Makalipas ang maraming taon, sinundan ni Ballmer si Gates bilang CEO ng Microsoft at pinanatili ang posisyon na iyon mula 2000 hanggang sa kanyang pagbibitiw noong 2014. Si Gates ay gumawa ng isang algorithm para sa pag-uuri ng pancake bilang isang solusyon sa isang serye ng mga hindi nalutas na problema na ipinakita sa isang combinatorics class ng professor na si Harry Lewis. Ang kanyang solusyon ay nagtataglay ng talaan bilang pinakamabilis na version sa loob ng 30 taon, at ang kahalili nito ay mas mabilis ng 2% lamang. Ang kanyang solusyon ay formal na at na-publish sa pakikipagtulungan sa Harvard computer scientist na si Christos Papadimitriou. Maraming salamat po sa inyong panunood. Sumikat siya sa mga pelikulang Pilipino noong 1980s, hanggang sa unang bahagi ng 1990s. Rodolfo Valentino Padilla Fernandez ang tunay niyang pangalan at may screen name na Rudy Fernandez, o mas kilala sa tawag na The Boy. Ipinanganak si The Boy 8:36 p.m. noong March 3, 1952. Sa Mary Johnston Hospital sa Tondo, Maynila. Siya ay panganay sa anak ng direktor ng pelikulang Pilipino na si Gregorio Fernandez at aktres na si Pilar Padilla. Parehong nagmula ang kanyang mga magulang sa bayan ng Lubao sa Pampanga na kino-consider niyang hometown ang Lubao, Pampanga. Nagsimula siyang gumawa ng pelikula sa edad na 3 sa Luksang Tagumpay, 1956. Sa direksyon ng kanyang ama. Lumabas din siya sa isa pang pelikula ng kanyang ama na Emily, 1960. Sinimulan ni The Boy ang kanyang aktibong karera sa pelikula habang siya ay nag-aaral sa Universidad ng Santo Tomas nang pumirma siya sa kontrata sa Sampaguita Pictures taong 1970. Una siyang itinampok sa Sampaguita Pictures para sa pelikulang For Your Mama, 1970. Pagkatapos ay ipinaris naman siya kay Connie Angeles. Sa pelikulang Sweet Matutina, 1970. Ginugol ni The Boy ang mga sumunod na taon ng kanyang kabataan sa paggawa pa ng mga pelikula. Hanggang sa nagawa niya ang kanyang tagumpay bilang isang action star sa bitayin si Baby Ama, 1976. Pinagbuti pa nga ni The Boy ang kanyang pagiging action star sa pelikulang Ang Leon, Ang Tigre at Ang Alamid, 1979. Simula sa Baby Ama mahusay din si The Boy sa paglalarawan sa karakter ng mga totoong buhay. Isa sa kanyang kilalang action films ay Ang Markang Bungo. Isang pelikula batay sa isang totoong kwento kung saan ipinakita niya ang kilalang opisyal ng pulisya ng Baguio na si Bobby Ortega ay ipinalabas noong 1992. Dito rin nagmula ang linya ni The Boy na walang personalan, trabaho lang. At iligpit si Bobby Ortega Markang Bunguto na ipinalabas noong 1995. Bukod sa naglalarawan ng isang tunay na opisyal ng pulisya, siya ay gumanap din bilang politiko na si Alfredo Lim, Vincent Crisologo at Ping Lacson. Sa pelikulang Lagalag, The Eddie Fernandez Story. Isang artistang Pilipino noong 1970. At ama ni Pops Fernandez. Sa pagtigil ng produksyon ng mga pelikulang aksyong Pilipino noong 2000. Bumaling si The Boy sa mga TV series ng GMA Network sitcom na The Boy and the Girl. Katambal si Rosana Roses. Gumanap din siya bilang supporting role sa iba pang mga TV series ng GMA tulad ng Twin Hearts at Atlantica. Naging host din si The Boy sa docudrama na Kasangga. Nanalo si The Boy ng 2 FAMAS Best Actor Awards. Para sa action films na Batigas, Pasukuin si Wow ay 1984. At Operation Get Victor Corpus the Rebel Soldier, 1988. Nominado rin si The Boy ng 13 times sa FAMAS from 1976 hanggang 1998. At nanalo rin ng 2 FAP Best Actor Awards para sa Batigas at Birador 1998. Noong 2007 FAMAS awarded ng Fernando Poe Jr. Memorial Award. Sumunod na taon pinagkaloob ng PMPC noong 2008 ang Ulirang Artista Lifetime Achievement Award kay Rudy Fernandez. At 24th PMPC Star Awards for Movies. Tumanggap din siya ng Film Academy of the Philippines FPJ Lifetime Achievement Award. Galing si Rudy Fernandez sa sikat na Padilla Showbiz clan sa kanyang mother side. Si Robin Padilla, Bibi Gandang Hari at Gino Padilla ay kanyang mga pinsan at pamangkin na si Shasha Padilla. May isa siyang anak na lalaki kay Alma Moreno na si Mark Anthony Fernandez. Rafael at Renz Fernandez kasama si Lorna Tolentino na kanyang asawa ang kanyang apo na si Gray anak ni Mark Anthony Fernandez. Tumakbo bilang alkalde ng lungsod ng Quezon sa ilalim ng puwersa ng masa noong 2001 si Rudy Fernandez. Bagaman nakakuha siya ng karamihang boto sa District 2, kung saan naroon ang mga botanteng binubuo karamihan ng mga mahihirap na mamamayan. Natalo siya sa natitirang 3 distrito at natalo ng noong House Speaker Sonny Belmonte ng People Power Coalition. Taong 2007 isiniwalat ni Lorna Tolentino sa Star Talk na ang kanyang asawa ay na-diagnose na may periampulary cancer. Sumailalim si The Boy sa pagpapagamot sa Tokyo, Japan. Pagkatapos ng hilang mass noong May 10, 2008, maraming kaibigan sa Christ the King Church, Quezon City. Isinugod siya sa isang ospital sa lungsod ng San Juan para sa sakit sa likod. Si The Boy ay talagang nagdurusa sa pancreatic cancer. June 1, 2008. Ipinagdiwang ni The Boy ang kanyang 25 anibersaryo ng kasal kasama si Lorna Tolentino. Nagtamo siya ng seizure makalipas ang 3 araw June 4 ngunit tumangging maibalik sa Cardinal Santos Memorial Center sa lungsod ng San Juan. Si The Boy ay namatay mula sa periampulary cancer sa kanyang tahanan sa Quezon City noong umaga ng July 7, 2008. Ang kanyang labi ay dinala sa The Heritage Park sa Taguig City. July 12, 2008. Alas 3 ng hapon inihatid sa huling hantungan si The Boy.